Hey, I'm Carl, your host from Beyond the Toolbox, and today I'm here with Dave Horvath. He's been in marketing for about 16 years, has spent over $100 million of other people's money, his own money, and I mean he's honestly just a top tier media buyer who I've met, and frankly, I really want to talk to you, Dave. So I appreciate you coming
Nice.
on, Dave.
Thanks for having me, Carl. I'm excited. Let's get into it.
Well, how'd you get into the marketing space? How'd you get into the
Yep. So let's see. About 20 years ago, I worked for a media monitoring company in Los Angeles. Learned about social media tracking. Started to understand that the ad side was the plumbing beneath the whole operation. Wanted to be a part of it, and then I kind of just slowly moved into it. I worked for another creative agency, and they were like, "We need to get going on digital ads. You need to handle this." And I was doing SEO at the time, and they passed those responsibilities off to me. I just became very obsessed with it and just understanding it. This was back when Google Ads was called AdWords. Um, so I built out a media team. I mean, we scaled hard. We went from zero to $800,000 in the fintech space. I had two media buyers under me, an affiliate marketing manager. We just scaled up, and then just kind of from there, I worked for myself. I consulted for a big creative agency up in Seattle, and then just built a book of business, and kind of that's where I'm here today. Yeah.
Very nice. And before
Hmm.
this, we talked about demand capture versus demand generation. And I think this is really going to help out the home service business that is watching this. Could you kind of guide me through the
Yes.
difference?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a fundamental platform shift, and if you understand it and keep it at top of mind, it really makes sense for how you position your advertising for your home service business. So basically, the two big giants in the space are Meta Ads and Google Ads, right? And one is more aligned with demand capture, and one's more aligned with demand generation. And Meta Ads would be the demand generation, and Google Ads is more demand capture. I mean, that was the foundation of the platform itself when it was called AdWords. And you can see it. So the bare bones, like if you strip every ad objective away from Google Ads, the biggest thing was search text ads, and that's where they got their start. And the reason why it's so effective for capture is just because we're targeting keywords that can align directly with the services that you're offering. Now, on the other side of that, meta ads is demand generation. I mean, think of the behavior. You don't go to Facebook or Instagram to find a roofer or a plumber. It's a passive kind of advertising behavior. So equally important, just different ways of getting the right kind of leads into your business.
Gotcha. Do you think
Yeah.
that's why Google Ads is so expensive? It's really expensive, looks
Absolutely.
like.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, when I started, I mean, I've seen inflated CPC prices because search text ads are auction based.
Right.
And I've seen it through more than a decade of how inflated, but then it's like it's really hard to judge because okay, now there's economic inflation, so that's a consideration, but it's a competitive space, so you got to really be on your A game to really capture the right leads. But I will say this, if your offer has a high value, it is so effective because and you really hone in on what your services is, and you align with best practices there, you can definitely do well, and I've seen it through and through with the clients that I serve.
Right. So then I'm curious who should run what at when. So let's say this is like a regular roofing company. What
Hmm.
should they do? Because like both of them work.
Right. I would say the foundation's always capture. You want
Capture.
to start with capture, just because you can get some quick wins and really build a foundation for your digital advertising there, and the intention is so high. But you have to really understand the mechanics and the plumbing behind the platform to really be successful. I would always start there and then scale in and start to try the different ad objectives. Like I always start a new client off with high intent search. Then I go into performance max because then we're starting to have ads in the whole Google Ads Google ecosystem, because performance max is search, YouTube, maps, Gmail, display. You want to start to put a little bit of budget there, and you want to be very careful on the audience signals, and you want to keep that really tight. And then I would try another ad objective called demand generation, which is more discovery. It's more top of funnel, and it's going to align a little bit looser than the PMAX. And if you can find success in those, then let's go into Meta as well, or congruently with going into demand generation on Google Ads.
YouTube and Meta are pretty similar in the fact that you're demand generating, right? Like, which one would you recommend? Because like typically Google Ads is a lot more expensive for a smaller roofer with a smaller budget. I figure doing demand generation is just cheaper, and can still
It's
work.
it's cheaper, but like when it comes down to it, you know, cheaper doesn't always lead to quality, right?
Oh, of course.
And right, the way I position it with my home service clients is basically the demand capture, the search is always the foundation of the house, but we want to layer in demand generation with meta ads, either with instant forms or straight to a lander with a direct offer. We'll get volume through demand generation, but the lead quality, I would say through and through, is nowhere near what you can get on Google Ads, but you pay that premium price for being in those auctions.
Hmm. Well,
So you
I
get a
figured that makes a
volume
lot of
play
sense.
on Meta, you get a volume play on Meta, and you get more of a quality play if the person behind the wheels knows how to target correctly and set up. Uh, More on Google Ads. So it's a blend. It's a blended strategy. I would recommend to get your feet off the ground. But I would, if you're limited on budget, I would always start with Google Ads first, and then layer in demand generation with Meta second.
Okay. So then let's
Mhm.
say somebody wanted to go the demand generation route. Would you recommend YouTube or Meta? Or is there a
I
nuance
would
to that?
I would go a little bit into demand gen, and then I would put more of the budget into Meta. And then with Meta, I would test the instant forms, which basically that's an ad objective where the person doesn't have to leave the platform. They can submit their information through a form, and then I would send traffic congruently to a high converting landing page. And when I talk about landing pages, we don't want to send traffic to a home page. There's one action, right? Or maybe two, right? There's no navigational links. You have an offer, and it's either they call you or submit their information, and that's it. And with home services, I see this gets muddled a lot. Like we'll just send it to the homepage. There's no thought in building out landing pages, and the landing page is the key, because the the ad is like when you think about it, just on a simplistic level, the ad is the driver, right? That gets the click there, but the landing page is the gate to unlock the lead. So you have to really think about where you're sending these people and what behavior you want. If you have a whole bunch of navigational links, your site loads slow, you don't have a really strong offer to present them, and they don't know anything about your business, it's doomed to fail. Um, so, obviously those are my recommendations. And then on top of that, you have to have solid tracking. Tracking is really important because we have to track everything so we know what's working and what's not working. And if you don't have that from day one, you're doomed to fail.
You mentioned a few things on the landing
hmm
page that should be there. Could you quickly dive into that? What do you recommend, or what needs to be on the landing page in order for it to be high converting?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say really think about the offer. Um, the offer, this is cold traffic, right? These people do not know your services or who you are. So make it entertaining. Like if I came to that page and I was like, "Oh wow, I can save X amount of dollars off of your service for first time customers." A promotion like that is key because you really you want to get these people in the door. You want to make sure that this works. If you take a little bit of hit on margin, then then I think it's a good play because you really want a strong offer. People are not they're coming to you, like I said, cold. I would say the second thing is site landing page speed. You need to make sure that your landing page loads as fast as possible. Use the free tools like Page Insight, Speed, and really nail down the best practices and maybe lean on AI to help you out with those landers. So the speed, the site speed is as fast as possible. Nobody, you might think because your home internet or wherever you're working, when you build the landing page is you're like it's fast, right? But you don't know, like, majority of all ad traffic now is mobile, right? So I mean that would be my third point, but you want to make sure that a lot of people just still have 4G phones. You want to make sure that this thing loads as quickly as possible. When I talk to Google Ads over the years, their direct rep team with me, we can see the actual conversion rate convergence. Like you bring the landing page speed down, load speed down, so it's like under 3 seconds, and you can see how the conversion rate goes up. So I would say that would be number two. Number three, make the landing page mobile first. So like mobile sticky, make sure that it's very, very easy to navigate on mobile. Another thing I would just put into the tracking would be something called Microsoft Clarity that gives you heat maps. So you can actually see the behavior and analyze it. And as you get enough traffic to the lander, you can actually start to make structural decisions on where certain buttons should be or placement of images. So I would say those are the three things. And then four is have tracking. It's not just about having tracking for lead submissions, it's about having the full funnel. So you're gonna, I would assume you have a CRM. You want to make sure that you're tracking end to end, not just submits. You want to send all of that data to a customer level, all the way back to the ad platforms. In addition, what you want to do is you want to actually send engagement signals, if you can, and you can figure this out, back to the platform as well as secondary conversion actions. Because what it's going to do is it doesn't take account those secondary, but now you can actually see what keywords are like actually engaging and what keywords are just dead clicks, right in the platform. And that's advantageous because you might think, okay, well, this keyword, I've been running it for like 2 weeks. I'll give you a scenario. It's engaging a lot, but I'm not seeing conversions. Well, maybe you should hold on to that keyword because people are actually engaging with the different elements in the landing page. And when I say engaging, I'm saying like you can put conversion actions for a micro engagement with the lander, like if they go to the FAQ or if they watch a video, or if you have before and after pictures and there's a slider. We put tracking on everything. We know who's clicked the button for the calls. We know who's clicked the button for the form. We know how far they've gone in the form, because now you can start to see the behavior. You want to track as much as you possibly can. I cannot stress that enough.
I'm
So I
taking
would
notes
say,
here too. I need
I
this.
would I would say, those are the elements of a high converting lander. Now, the fifth thing is above the fold is the most important piece of the lander. And the reason why it's the most important piece is because if you look at through and through landing page behavior, you'll notice that only 20 to, I would say at tops, 30% of the traffic that lands on your landing page is going to go below the fold. So
Hmm.
above the fold is your biggest statement. You want to be directly aligned with the keywords that you're targeting. If we're using a lander for Google Ads search, the messaging match between the ad and the lander should be as good as possible, and you want to follow best practices with landers so you have a high quality score. So your ad rank is as high as possible. Um, and the reason why you want to do that, because if the score is higher, then you pay less per click. Because Google is rewarding you for having the most relevant, best landing page possible for those search terms.
I think I had this issue once where I had a client who just kept getting horrible ad rank because they weren't a big brand. Like nobody was just
Hmm.
clicking on their stuff because they didn't know them. Would it be
Hmm.
worth to run Google Ads when you're known, or is it fine to just do it at any time?
It's fine to do it at any time. You just have to follow the best practices, and there's three different pieces of that quality score that you need to adhere to. The first is the CTRs. They're gonna figure out what the highest CTR click through rate. So basically, what a click through rate, for somebody that doesn't understand, is there's impressions, and impressions is just your ad serves in the search query, and then there's clicks. So the more people see your ad and click your ad, that's the division of the CTR. So the average CTR, the ad relevance, and then the landing page experience. So if you can hit above average scores on all of that, that's the goal. Now you're not going to get tens out of tens on every search term. I mean, it's like hitting the jackpot if you can, but if you if you can get higher than the sevens through the tens, or where you want to aim for, you'll definitely get a discount versus somebody that has low quality scores on those terms. And
Okay.
yeah, that should set you up for success if you're going to DIY the whole process.
Yeah, I was that ad rank was an issue, and I feel like you're right though. Like click through rate, if the click through rate is low, well, that also means that people just didn't know this company. They'd rather click on the more known company, and therefore making the known one have the 10 out of 10s, and the ones who weren't very known, didn't have a ton of reviews, would have like a low quality score. So I figure maybe there's an apex point where it's like, all right, maybe then you can start running Google ads and you're known enough, or you maybe just eat the low CTR
Yeah,
because nobody knows you.
yeah.
Maybe that's just why.
I mean, I think it comes down to a couple different things. Is your ad appealing to, is your offer appealing to that search? If you don't have some kind of promotion, I'd say promote. That's why I'm going to go hit hard on promotions. Like, if you don't have something that's appealing and attractive for them to click through to you, you know, there it's going to fall flat on its face with really honing in on CTRs. And then the other thing is just aligning the ad to the actual search query. Super important. So, there's some different ways that you can do that in the ad. You can dynamically insert the actual keyword into the headline and pin that if you want for RSA ads. You can location drop dynamically into the ad as well, just to build ad relevance. But these things are super important. So if you can adhere to them, you'll figure out that you'll have better conversion rates, you'll have better quality scores, you'll pay less per click, your relevancy is better, the quality of the clicks are better for search. So
Out of
those are
curiosity,
the
what did you use
foundations.
to track everything? Because you mentioned like even scrolling through the before and after.
Yeah. I
What did you
mean,
use?
basically, there's no like secret tracker, it's all it's all in the platform. It's in the Google ecosystem. It's Google Tag Manager, Google Analytics for Google Ads, and that's all it is. You can put things in the data layer um, of your landing page, and you can have Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics for pick it up. Now you sync Google Analytics to Google Ads, and then you import those goals into Google Ads, right? So
Right.
when you build a lander, it's important that you build these data layer tags for different engagement. And I would recommend, if you don't understand how to build the lander, push the source code into something like Claude or ChatGPT, and it will guide you on how to build the tracking correctly.
Hmm.
Very important.
Now let's talk about the ancillary
Speed and
platforms.
tracking. What's
Yeah,
up?
let's talk about the ancillary platforms because I know, like having ran with clients, people sometimes bring up stuff like TikTok and Reddit and well, not really Reddit, but like
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT ads. And I know you've ran
Mm-hmm.
that, Dave. What do you think about those different
Mm-hmm.
platforms and how have you seen them perform? And like for example, the
Mm-hmm.
major one is TikTok because it's close enough to Meta, but it's far from Meta. What have you seen on that one running with other verticals? Or tell me about
Yeah, I would say if you have a big offer, and it has wide appeal,
it. Mm-hmm.
it can work on TikTok. And you have to be really creative heavy. Things
Mm-hmm.
burn out quicker. I would say TikTok creative assets burn out faster than anywhere I've ever seen in my life. And I thought meta ads was bad. Like TikTok's even worse. So if you're ready to be really creative heavy, TikTok can work. I would say for home services, I wouldn't start there, but if you're dying to get more traffic and you're like, we've come to an end with the major platforms, I would go there, but I wouldn't start there. I would put it as an add-on. But there are conversions to be had there. You just have to be very sharp with creative output and have a process down because it is creative intensive. It will eat your creatives up, and ad fatigue is a real thing, and it happens faster than any other platform. I would say Reddit can definitely work if you can find subreddits that have enough volume. And the remarketing piece of Reddit can definitely work. And if I would recommend you wanted to scale traffic anywhere and you wanted to be on Reddit, that's where I would do it. I would say another one that's not a lot mentioned but can work very well in home services is Pinterest.
Pinterest.
Women still go to Pinterest a lot. Pinterest is still a thing. Um, I would not do top of funnel traffic there. My experience is it's a lot of bot clicks, but for remarketing, Pinterest can be very lucrative. And
Hmm.
especially since home goods and home services and the right ICP, ideal customer profile in Pinterest, you can definitely do well there. Um, Other networks, I would say the first, second tier network I would go to is like you're like, I'm tapped out on Google Ads, I'm tapped out on Meta. I would go straight to Microsoft Ads. It is such
Yes.
a fast win, and it's here's the thing with this audience that lives there. They're affluent, they're older, and they definitely can buy your services, and the cost of doing business there, the CPC prices are definitely, I would say, like 20 to 30% cheaper than what you'll find on Google Ads for the same search terms. Now the con is that you're never going to get as much volume as Google Ads, never. It's just not big enough. But I would segue there. ChatGPT ads, you could definitely test it out. I've had a little bit of success there. Still trying to make it work as good as I think it can work, but it takes a lot of time to really perfect it. But the platform's growing up, and there's still opportunity there if you can find it and you're willing to put the money test budget into the platform. Um, it's exciting because it reminds me of the early days of Google Ads when it reminds me like AdWords, like the functionality of things is like every day is like appearing, like now we can track events, now we can find, we have more better tracking. And when I started working on it a couple months ago, it was it was like it was very rudimentary. Like you couldn't even put UTM parameters in. For people that don't understand what UTM parameters are, it's basically in your URL. You put different things in it so you know that this ad copy, this term is where this traffic's coming from. You can append that now. So I would say I've seen conversions there. You gotta put the thing is you have to put in a recommended prompt, and you gotta test a lot of creative there. You can get away with some pretty impressive CPC prices there. I wouldn't put a humongous budget into it, but I would definitely put it on a layer if you're like starving to find new places to search. It is exciting because it is a new platform, and it's kind of like the wild wild west right now. So uh, keep on testing. I mean, I'm testing every day there. So because I remember the start of Facebook, the start of Meta ads. I remember AdWords when it was just really new, and it's exciting. You can do a lot of. There's not a lot of people in the space, so the auctions are. You can find cheaper auctions, and so that's exciting. That's exciting for me because I don't see like, it might be like every 5 years a new ad platform comes that we can dissect and test. So these are exciting times because I'm sure the other AI providers will probably lead way. I mean, it's only a matter of time if they're if they're gonna file IPOs, and this is just on a business end. If they're gonna file IPOs, they're gonna do ads, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So
I feel like the average Claude user is a little too analytical to be clicking on those types of ads. At least from what I've seen. ChatGPT is like everyone that's like the first thing and everyone's on it. Claude is more analytical for people more who are more analytical and Dave, you're giving a lot of sauce here. The Bing stuff, that's too much, man. I got to cut that
yeah,
out maybe. I was just messing around. That's real. If people are media buyers for their home service company, like this is this is serious stuff. I mean, what do you typically see then? Is you like we talked about this before this when you mentioned you ran Reddit, like that was more brand awareness than it even was lead generation.
Yeah.
Would you even like recommend anything like that until they have like a $10 million budget to do any brand awareness stuff, or just straight D2C?
I would you work there's enough traffic on the two platforms. If you can graduate from the two platforms, the third one is Microsoft Ads.
Right.
That's the logic. Make those two work, or have somebody that can make those two work, Google Ads and Meta Ads. You put in Microsoft Ads and make that work, and then start to think about other places to find traffic, because there are, it's going to be incremental increases, but you can do it. The other thing too is CCTV is a good play. I've seen with home services clients that layer that piece on. If you want to find more places to go, I would say that would be a four. I don't do a lot of CCTV media buys. I have in the past. I don't typically. I'm just adjacent, and they want me to put the tracking up or just kind of manage it that way. But those are good. I've seen directly with home service clients that advertise video ads on television through CCTV, a direct impact in our digital ads. It's very even. I just feel like they're searching the right terms more. Like there's a volume bump, and there's a brand recognition piece that pours over to the digital side. So I would recommend that, and I would definitely hit the big two, and then put in three. And if you want to go even harder, go ChatGPT, probably Reddit, and then maybe do some DSP buys. If you're really that big, you can go like DV360 or Trade Desk, and you can find that CCTV buys there too. So I would say probably that would be my flow of buying.
What
Um,
about Yahoo
Typically,
and DuckDuckGo?
that's all in Microsoft.
Oh, those are all. Oh,
Yeah.
never mind. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Yeah, you buy DuckDuckGo in as it's a search partner of Bing, Microsoft Ads, and Yahoo and Bing are in the same search. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't typically see a lot of people graduating out of them, so I haven't ran Microsoft and haven't ran Bing,
Hmm.
but I hear it's like a it's for those who know. Those who know are gonna make, and there people say, "Oh, it's not high volume enough," but it's like you don't necessarily need to generate that much volume to reach a very affluent customer who's older, definitely owns a home, has the money for it,
Yeah.
and it's
Because
cheaper.
think of here's the behavior, and I've worked with Microsoft. When you spend at the levels that I've spent on Microsoft, I established relationships with people that work on the advertising team through the years. Here's the deal. Here's the big chunk of secret sauce I'll give you is like, and this is not what somebody thinks about on a day-to-day basis, but like, you know, people that have been in media buying for a long time, we know this stuff. People that click Microsoft ads are usually a majority desktop based, or they're the mobile traffic too, but it's all default browsers. It's all Edge browsers for the most part. It's all Windows based, and it's just this old affluent audience that didn't know how to change their browser settings, and buys their desktop or their mobile phone at Walmart, but they're like retired. It's like an old generation. It's like all over like 55 to 80. There's a big and yeah, it's amazing throughout the decades like how cheap those CPC prices have been, and it's still powerful, and they still make I'm in it on a weekly basis. It's still a good platform. I mean, it piggybacks like directly, like almost one to one with Google Ads. Like,
Yeah.
they launch PMax, Microsoft launches PMax. They don't even they're not even ashamed of it. Like, they don't even try to change the names of things. They call it the same thing. So it's not hard. The learning curve to learn it, if you understand Google Ads, is it's almost the same thing. So I highly recommend it.
Is there
Yeah.
any piece of advice you'd give to a home service business trying to run their own ads?
Start with the foundations. Really think through your offer and think about the behavior. If I came and clicked your ad, what makes you stand out from your competitors? Or what can you offer that other people can offer, that are directly your competitors? And then the foundational pieces, right? Like fast loading landing page. Don't send the traffic to the home page. Make sure the tracking is working end to end. Debug it. You have to test. I never launch anything in my whole career without testing it end to end. You have to test it. And because I come across accounts where it's just the tracking's broken, and they're like, I don't understand why this is not working. You The tracking is the foundation, right? If you're sending junk signals back to the platform, or no signals at all, it doesn't know how to make the right bidding decisions to find you the ideal customer.
And one last thing, you mentioned bots, and I hear a lot of people complaining about bots. Is that really as
But,
prevalent as they say it is? Like 60% bots on Meta?
you can use services like Chegg is one to filter out bots and fraudulent traffic, and I've done it all. And if you're running enough traffic, it it definitely is advantageous for you to filter. But if you're just getting started out, I would say that's an add-on if you're spending, let's say, at least like 20 to 50 to even beyond. It definitely helps, because the secret sauce there is basically, if you're running that kind of volume, then filtering off that traffic is advantageous, and then you can basically do this, which a lot of people don't do, but you can send the reporting of the bot traffic to Google and say, hey, these are all these IPs that we flagged through our tracking. So can you double check, and if they are, can you give us ad credit back for it? Now, I've seen some pretty damn big refunds
Wow.
coming back, because we were auditing the traffic on our end and we're filtering it. So it's advantageous at a certain spend level and a certain CPC level. If you're a high volume roofer and you're spending that amount of money, then it makes sense for you to do that kind of work and have that service in place. I would say add-ons, what I would do this. If you're spending that amount of money, you would definitely want to do the bot filtering. But the other caveat, and this is a little bit more advanced than somebody trying to set up a Google Ads account, is if you're spending that amount of money, you need to go to server-side tracking. And server-side tracking is important because you basically use a service called Stape.io, and it loads all the pixels up into the domain. So they load not on the browser side. And the reason why you do that is a lot of ad blockers, or if you get a lot of ISO traffic, it's blocking your pixel. And so you're not sending as much signal, or your signal quality back to the ad platforms is not as good. So at a certain spend level, putting it's called S2S or server side tracking is advantageous because it's kind of like stock dividends. It grows your signal quality improves, your bottom line improves because you're sending better signals back to the ad platforms, and so it makes better bidding decisions, and it's tracking one to one with whatever you go. So I would say that's advanced. You don't need it if you're not spending enough money, but like signal quality is everything. And when you work in media buying, you start to realize that um, you get to a certain point, and you see it. And when we put on Stape on some larger accounts, a couple months roll by, the data gets cleaner, and the performance just starts to turn better incrementally. It's not like a drastic change, but you can start to see it in increments, and it pays for itself. I would highly recommend it if you're at those spend levels.
Okay. Well, where can someone go to find and learn about SEO, Go SEO Local and find you?
Just go to the website. Yeah, you can find all about me there, who I've worked with. I have case studies just through and through. Fill out the form. Let's see, maybe there's a fit for us to be working together, and I think that's good. You can follow me on LinkedIn, D Horvath one on LinkedIn. I post weekly, just things that I've just went through. You know, so yeah, those
Awesome.
are probably
I
good
appreciate,
outlets.
yeah, I appreciate everyone staying around and look forward to the next one.